All right, let's talk about something huge in construction, the quality management plan. And I mean, let's really talk about it. Forget that dusty binder that just sits on a shelf to tick a box. We're going to talk about how to build a living, breathing system that actually drives success out on the job site.
This quote, man, it just nails it, doesn't it? A truly effective quality plan can't be a copy-paste job. It has to be real. It has to be authentic to you. It needs to reflect how your team actually gets the job done. You know, whether you're building a massive skyscraper, paving a new highway, or putting up a complex bridge, it's got to be yours through and through.
So that's the million-dollar question, right? How do you build a quality management plan that actually works? I mean, how do you go from some generic template you downloaded to a genuinely powerful tool, something your team will actually grab and use to deliver amazing results? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down right now.
Okay, first things first, we need to completely reframe how we think about the QMP. This is not, and I repeat, not just more paperwork to keep the auditors happy. You've got to see it as your project's blueprint for quality. Seriously, it's the detailed, step-by-step guide that makes sure the finished product is exactly what you promised the client.
So how do we build this blueprint? Well, the entire ISO 9001 standard is built on this really powerful four-step cycle. It's plan, do, check, and act. You'll hear it called the PDCA cycle. And honestly, this is going to be our roadmap for the rest of our chat today. It's that simple, but that important.
All right, let's jump into phase one, the plan. This is all about laying that solid foundation for success. Think of it as all the crucial strategic work you do before a single shovel even hits the dirt. It's what sets you up to win right from the get-go.
So what does that actually mean?
Well, it's about a few key things. It means deeply understanding your company and your clients' needs. It means getting real, visible commitment from your leadership, not just a signature on a piece of paper. It's about planning ahead for risks and opportunities instead of just, fighting fires later. And of course, it's about making sure you've got the right people, the right tools, and the right resources lined up for the job.
And here's where the rubber really meets the road. A plan is just a bunch of ideas until you connect it to real evidence. And that evidence comes from the actual documents your team uses every single day. Things like your risk register, your training and competency matrix, or your roles and responsibilities chart. These aren't just for show. They're the practical, hands-on tools that make the quality plan come alive out on the site.
So why are we obsessing over this planning phase so much? It's simple, really. A solid plan is your #1 defense against all the things that keep you up at night. I'm talking costly rework, frustrating client disputes, and killer project delays. Nailing this first phase saves you a ton of time, a ton of money, and most importantly, it protects your reputation. Okay, on to phase 2. This is the do part of our cycle. I like to call it the build. This is where the boots hit the ground, where your carefully crafted plan meets the reality of the job site. It is all about executing with control.
And there's a really logical flow to it. You start by planning the actual specific operations on site. Then you double and triple check all the requirements from the client, from regulators, you name it. A huge part of this is making sure your suppliers and your subcontractors are totally up to snuff. Then you get into controlling the actual production, the building itself, and finally, you have a rock-solid process to verify the work and formally release it or sign off on it.
And let me tell you, this is where tools like your inspection and test plans, your ITPs, become absolutely critical. You can think of an ITP as the quality checklist for literally every important task. It lays out the exact checks, the tests, the hold points, everything you need to do to make sure that quality is built into the process, not just inspected at the very end when it's too late.
And what's the big payoff for all this control and detail? It's actually pretty simple. You guarantee that what you are building every single day, every single step of the way, perfectly matches the blueprint. It's how you ensure the quality workmanship and the total compliance that your client is paying good money for.
Okay, so we've planned the work, and we've done the work. Now it's time for phase 3, the check. This is that absolutely essential feedback loop. This is where we stop and ask, is our plan actually working? Are we getting the results we thought we would?
I mean, the project is moving along, things are getting built. It all looks good on the surface, but looks can be deceiving, right? How do you really know, with hard data, that your quality plan is doing its job? How do you know the systems you put in place are actually preventing mistakes?
Well, you start by measuring what matters. You set up what we call key performance indicators, or KPIs. So for example, you could track something like the percentage of installations that are done right the very first time. No rework needed. A simple number like 98%, man, that tells a powerful, powerful story about how well your team and your systems are performing.
So where does this data come from? It's not just pulled out of thin air. It comes from three main places. First, your daily monitoring and measurements on site. Second, from systematic internal audits where you check up on your own processes. And third, from formal management reviews where the leadership team steps back and really looks at the overall health of the entire quality system.
And why does this check phase matter so much? Because it's your project's early warning system. It's what lets you catch a small issue or a negative trend or a recurring mistake long before it blows up into a major problem, a huge hit to the budget, or a nasty dispute with your client. And all of that checking naturally leads us to our final and maybe most important phase, improvement. And listen, this is not just about fixing problems when they pop up. It's about genuinely learning from them so you can get systematically better as a whole team.
Now, there is a super important distinction to make here. It's the difference between a simple correction and a true corrective action. So, fixing a single bad weld, that's a correction. It's a reactive fix. But a corrective action, that's different. That's when you dig deeper. You figure out why that weld was bad in the first place, and then you fix the system. Maybe you retrain the welder, or you update the procedure itself. You do whatever it takes to make sure it never, ever happens again.
And what this all builds towards is the ultimate goal, a culture of continual improvement. This is a mindset. It's a way of operating where your entire team, from the top down, is constantly on the lookout for ways to get better. You're using data, you're using feedback from the client, you're using lessons learned from the field, all to make the whole system smarter, better, and more efficient.
So why is this final act or improve phase so critical? Because it does something incredible. It turns your mistakes into assets. Yeah, you heard that right. You learn from every slip-up. You improve because of it. And over time, you build this absolutely rock-solid, unstoppable reputation for quality and excellence.
Okay, so let's bring this all home. Let's pull it all together. What we've just walked through, this isn't about creating some static document that sits on a shelf. What we've built here is a dynamic, living quality system. It's the engine that should be powering your entire operation. And it all comes back to that simple, powerful cycle. Remember it. Plan, do, check, act. You plan the work based on your own unique way of doing things. You do the work with control and with precision. You check your performance using real hard data. And then you act on that data to constantly, continually improve. This isn't a one-and-done thing. It's the very rhythm, the heartbeat of a truly successful construction business. So I'm going to leave you with one final question to think about. Take a really honest look at your company's quality plan. Right now, is it just a document that's collecting dust on a shelf somewhere? Or is it the real living engine that's driving your quality, your reputation, and your entire business forward?